Okay, so now let's talk a little bit more about creating our driver shift. Again, if we go outside of the shift editor and come back, nothing is automatically selected. Our date range has stayed the same. And within that date range, this shift is available. Let's click on that. Notice that when it's selected, it's outlined in red. Now we talked about keywords, the name of the shift, the start time and date. Now, we also did the minimum and the maximum people. So in this particular case, the shift needs one person, and when it reaches one person, no one else will be allowed to sign up for that shift. Now, there are several different ways to add volunteers. Maybe there's someone in your organization who is ready to do that shift, would really like to be assigned. So let's go ahead and assign someone specifically for that shift. Now, we could go ahead through our rosters, and since we already have drivers as a roster, it allows us to very quickly limit the number of people we need to search through in our organization. So drivers on the roster, let's choose Fred Flintstone because I know he's very interested in doing this shift. Now, you'll notice that an appointment has appeared underneath the shift, and it looks like a black do not enter sign. And what that means is when I click on that, this is actually the person that's assigned. We call it an appointment. It's not the shift. It's actually the person that's assigned to the shift. And now that that's selected, it's outlined in red. And let's have a look. We can see that there's some information about this. It's sent out to Fred Flintstone. It's in design mode. And what's important about that is the shift is staged. I've decided who I'd like to have do that shift, but I haven't contacted them yet. The next step is either to invite them or to accept manually on their behalf. If I invite, it will go out to whatever settings they've made in their own profile. So for instance, it may appear as email and it may appear on their phone. If this is a volunteer who doesn't choose to engage by email or through the phone, they don't use their account, then they may contact me on the phone and say they'll do the shift. In that case, I can manually accept them. So in the first stage, let's see what that looks like. Let's say if I talk to Fred on the phone, or when Fred is into our organization, Fred says he will do that shift. As an administrator, all I need to do is click on the appointment, and then I click on accepted. Now watch when I click accepted what happens to the red thumbs down. Let's click on that. Notice that it's now turned to a green thumbs up, and Fred's status has changed to accepted. So the green check mark means that Fred has accepted. We can see here that his status has also changed to accepted. Now, in the event I need to remove Fred from a shift, all I need to do is back up into that design mode. And you can see that the shift is no longer satisfied. Fred is there. If I need to remove Fred, I can do that here. Are you sure you want to remove Fred from the appointment? And yes, I do. So now we've backed completely up to what the shift looked like just a few minutes ago. So let's go back and add a volunteer. Let's click on this. Now, if I know the person's name, if they're in the organization, I can just search for them here. I want to add Fred for the full shift. Notice that we're back to the staged area. We're in design mode. I'm thinking that Fred will do the shift, but in this particular case, I haven't actually informed him. So in this case, let's go ahead and send that out to him to accept. So when I select invite, notice that Fred's status changes to invited. It's a gold circle with a question mark in it. And we can actually see what that looks like. Fred will receive that information on his phone if he's connected that way. He'll also receive an email. And let's go back and see what it looks like for Fred's account. So if we log out and just go into my account as Fred, notice that I can see this driver hospital shuttle on the shift invitation in my volunteer now window. Those are opportunities available for me. As Fred the volunteer, I can go check the shift. I can see the information. And when I click accept, it disappears from my volunteer now. And as I log into the organization, remember, I'm back in now as the admin in the organization. If I go and check that shift, I can see that the driver shift has been satisfied, and I can see that Fred has indeed accepted.